Hey everyone, Matt Pisarcik from RazorEmporium.com coming at you today for another shave review video! Sorry, I just have a blast doing these, guys. We are looking at the brand new Dovo Straight Razor. I think it's time. Let's get started. All right, I have only gotten my face wet with some cold water, and I want you guys to see the lather building process because I've never used Ariana and Evans before. Yeah, so we picked up Ariana and Evans for the Razor Emporium store. I was at the Maggards meetup. Peter, the owner, walked up to me and said, "Hey Matt, why are we not in your store?" I said, "I don't know, man. Send me a sales sheet, wholesale price list, and we'll pick them up." He gave us some suggestions of some of the kind of greatest hits to start with. And I thought for today, let's use the Ultima Barberia Classico, like basically their ultimate barbershop scent. I love it, very, very barbershoppy. I'm not gonna put any pre-shave on. I want you guys to see 100% performance of just the product itself. So like all soaps, I am a bowl latherer, or right on top of the soap lather. I don't use a separate bowl. I'm fine just going like this and loading up my brush for a few seconds and transferring that over to my face, which I will then use the brush to agitate and build a monster lather. I can already tell it's a thirsty soap. It's good. The sign of a good soap is a thirsty soap. Let's see how this goes. Lots of water, lots of agitation. Not going to worry about the black t-shirt getting white soap on it quite yet. And that's like the number one thing I see with people. I had a friend come into my lobby recently and he said, "Matt, I've actually been using Parasso for a while, but I don't get the lather like you get. Like, what's your secret?" I said, more water, more agitation. There we go. Now we're getting the consistency that I'm looking for. I've got 3 days of growth. You see how when I slap it, you get the peak that comes up? See that little peak? That's good. That means you're reaching hydration. Nice. Impressive so far. Now, all of the Ariana and Evans products are tallow-based soaps. So that means that they use a beef fat. There are some people who are anti-tallow, or maybe they're vegan or whatever. That's fine, that's cool, just be aware. I like it all. The Razor Emporium stuff is all vegan, and then the Rec stuff is tallow. I find merit in both. I think the argument of one's better than the other is silly. That's like saying which one's better, Ford or Dodge or Chevy. It's like, they're just different, guys. I think it's best to try a couple for yourself. Make your own mind up. Maybe have a few when you're done. So, pretty happy so far with this lather performance. Before it dries out, I'm gonna try not to blab too much. We're gonna get started with the Dovo. We just got these in, like literally in the last couple days, in terms of today's shooting date. And this is a new razor for Dovo, made in Germany. It's a good beginner straight razor. It's 5/8 in width. It does have a square point, maybe something to be concerned about. And this is made out of a carbon steel. It is a 1.2210 carbon steel. And it features this really cool laser engraving all over it. And that's kind of like its signature look. It's got jimps on the bottom down here. So if you are new to straight razor shaving, I always tell people to open this like a clock, kind of. We say, or like a circle, I guess, we'd say 90 degrees, 180, 270. And then I'm gonna hold it like this, where I've got one finger, kind of on top, on either side of the scale, and then my thumb on the bottom. People can also use multiple fingers. It's what you're comfortable with. And the whole point of putting the scale up in the air, I always tell people it's like a cheetah tail. It adds balance. It also gets it out of the way, but also really is good for balance. When you straight razor shave, you need to skin stretch. So there's no safety bar to do that for you. So I like to just start on my cheek. Flat areas are best. We're gonna lay it kind of flat against my cheek and slowly work the angle down until I start feeling it engage. Wow, that is super sharp. I am thoroughly impressed. And yes, I'm rinsing it underneath the sink. If I wanted to be a good boy, and I guess I'll try to be a good boy for you guys, I will use my towel for the rest of the shave, just to demonstrate and live by my own words to not put the blade under the sink. That's like scary sharp, guys, and this is right from the factory. I'm gonna have to take my time. It's been a while since I've straight razor shaved, and I have longer growth, which longer growth sometimes it can actually make the blade kind of want to dig in, like have the blade kind of like rotate into the hair, and that's how you can get cut. Like obviously, it's always funny when you watch a movie and these guys are straight razor shaving like this, and you're like, you will literally just slice your entire face open. You cannot do this. It has to be nearly flat. And the skid stretching is super important, guys. Be very mindful of your toe. So anatomy of a straight razor, just like your foot, toe, and heel. And so this has a geometry called a square point or a spike point. That 90-degree corner is super helpful for getting places like behind your ear. But honestly, guys, this is where I've cut myself the absolute most of the straight razors, right underneath the earlobe. In fact, I'm going to remove just a tiny bit of shaving cream just so I can see my earlobe. I am going so slow. I'll be completely straight. This is incredibly well honed. It is not dull. And I've had straight razors where it's like, oh, it's a little forgiving. This guy's not. This is very, look at that. Very smooth, very clean. I know there's been controversy in the past that Dovo's edges were not shave ready from the factory. I can tell you that they got bought out recently, about 2 years ago. And there's a new owner in town, and I actually had a long, like 2-hour conference call with him. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his name's Jens, J-E-N-S, Jens. And he actually reached out to me, and he kind of just wanted to, he's like, I know you've been in the industry for a long time, you sell our products. And he said, I kind of just want to know what you think of our products. Like, I'm coming into this, I bought the company in bankruptcy court, and I want to know what you as a retailer think of our products. And I told him, I was like, number one thing, no one thinks your blades are shave ready from the factory. And people have to pay people like me an extra $39 to sharpen it. But I can tell you guys, this is a beginner razor. I think it's only $139 retail. It's ready to go. You can probably tell how quiet I am and how focused I am, because the last thing I want to do is cut myself with a straight razor on set. It's never pretty. I actually have a scar on my left cheek from straight razor shaving years and years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago. This is why a lot of guys love straight razor shaving. You're not thinking about your work. You're not thinking about your kids. You're not thinking about, the projects waiting for you on your desk when you know, whatever, your house chores. You are in the moment, you are focused, and you are thinking about nothing but shaving. Now for the bottom of my neck, my hair goes up, so all this goes down. So I was able to hold the razor like this, like we just showed you, and go down. But this bottom section, I've been blessed with hair that goes up. I say that a little tongue-in-cheek, obviously. And my best way of doing that is actually turning the blade into 180 degrees and actually going up. Very carefully. Very carefully. It's funny too. At the time of the shooting, it is June in Arizona. And so that you guys have the best sound quality, we turn off the air conditioning in the studio while we're shooting, so it's getting sweaty. And the nervousness I have of using this very sharp blade is only getting intensified by the feeling of the temperature rising. That lower section, I may bail out and use a double edge on that very little lower section. Let me try one more time, this little patch right here. I'm gonna add a little bit of hydration from my wet, and I did a wet lather on purpose, guys, a little wetter than normal, because I knew I was gonna be dipping back into it as we went. Sometimes that's a great place to like use the heel or the toes to really kind of focus where you need to be trimming. Cool, let's go to the other side. So knowing what I know and how long that one side took me, I am gonna already just go back and add some hydration and some more lather to the side because I sat there and took my sweet time. There's nothing wrong. There's no like, the number one thing, guys, do not think you're in the movies. Do not think you're at the barber shop and you've got to like make your first lather do. It's like, no, go back over it. Who cares? I'm going for no cuts. That's my bar. There's no drill sergeant watching me. There's no, you know, judge watching me like you had to re-lather. It's like, I wanted to avoid getting a cut or irritation. Now, I've mentioned this before. If you're new to straight razor shaving, if I were you, I'd stick to the cheeks. And I'd also stick to your dominant hand. But what you really need to start learning to do is use your non-dominant hand for your non-dominant side. So I'm right-handed, my right side's super easy. We're gonna switch over. Left hand on left side. Same thing, super flat. Flat, 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 and then slowly increase angle until I feel engagement. Short strokes, no long strokes. I'm trying to skin stretch. I'm also trying to make my cheek as flat as possible by moving my facial muscles around. Wow. That's really nice. That's super smooth. There is some kind of sense of accomplishment you get more with a straight edge than you do a safety razor. Let me find my sideburn there. Now, years ago, I was straight razor shaving all the time. I had a beard for many years, back in my 20s, and I would always trim my neck up with a straight razor, so I got pretty handy with it. And skid stretching is absolutely a must. I've talked to guys and they think they're gonna handle like a double edge and they're just gonna like pull down. It's like, no. Every double edge is a safety bar, and that bar actually goes in front of the blade and kind of helps flatten the skin out. You don't have that, so you need to do it with your hands. Now for this goatee area, I have a choice. I could either do the heel or I could do the toe with my other hand. I'm gonna try the heel first. The only problem with that is I start getting kind of close to my cheek. And so I'm gonna try to flip around, and yes, I'm putting all my shaving cream on the towel like a good boy. And the reason for that, guys, is I say this is the easiest way to chip your blade, is you go under the sink to rinse it, and you come up, because you're excited, and you chip and nick your blade on the faucet. So it also is not good to put a bunch of water on carbon steel. Carbon steel is not stainless steel, does not want to be wet, it wants to be dry. So I'm gonna switch over to my other hand, my right hand, and use the toe and kind of come through here and shape this. Take as much time as you need to. And this is one thing I tell people, straight razor shaving takes a lot more time. Do not do it in a rush. Wake up early Saturday morning, Sunday morning, whatever. Drink your coffee, relax, go in with the zen, expect to spend 30 minutes shaving. Dead serious. For your first couple weeks of doing it, 30 minutes. Especially if you're gonna try to like re-lather and go in different directions. Yeah. It's when you're in a rush that you get into trouble. Okay, we're gonna, again, flip this open 180 and go up now. Nice. I'm running out of clean space here. No, I'm not. Flip it over. Woo! Seriously, I am like signs of relief here. At this point, I probably straight razor shave once every few months, and so had I been doing this like as often as I do double edge, I'd be flipping around. You guys were like, 30 minutes? What are you talking about? Yeah. I have no ego in this because look, I don't have any cuts. I don't have a huge gash. I don't have to go out of the bathroom with a bandage on my face and go tell my wife that my brand new $150 razor cut me and I was, you know, in my hobby, and I don't have to be told like, why don't you just use a regular razor? So I'd rather come out like victorious than come out like with my tail between my legs. So hashtag deal with it. I rinsed off, but seriously, that is so smooth already. I put nothing on. My lower neck, some of these little areas, like maybe if I grab, let's see what I got over here. I got an Edwin Jagger sitting over here. Yeah, I'm gonna bail out. Maybe a tiny bit like here. I had a difficult time. Very little lower part. Maybe a tiny bit of touch up. Especially my left side. It's always harder non-dominant side. But that's it. I'm good. And yeah, guys, I always have extra toys over here. It's not planned. I keep stuff here on set. We're gonna finish up with the Ultima Barberia Classico Splash. I like this Medusa head.
Dangerous than the Kraken itself.
Tell me.
I showed my kids the 1981 classic Clash of the Titans. Medusa and Perseus. And
The head of Medusa, the Gorgon.
Release the Kraken! And my kids loved it. And so my son saw this today in the car, you know, before I dropped him off at summer camp. He's like, Dad, that's Medusa. I'm like, yeah, just like the story, man. This is a really interesting consistency splash. This is like a milky splash. I am actually super excited to try this because I like milky splashes. It reminds me of, oh, that feels so good. This reminds me of the Zingari man. Has a milky splash. Oh, that is so nice. That is probably one of my favorite splashes, no joke. But Matt, how can you be objective? You make splashes, and he's your competitor. Because I think the market's big enough for everybody, and I know that you guys have way more than one product in your bathroom. And honestly, I'm reviewing this product today. That's a fantastic splash. I'm gonna take this home. A lot of times I raffle these the stuff I use on set, or I give them away to staff members or friends. This is coming home. I can't stop touching my face. It feels so good just to rub that in. What a fun and thrilling shave. I felt like Perseus, having to slay Medusa with my sword. Coming at ya! No, but that was a lot of fun. I am super impressed. Jens told me that they had completely revamped their sharpening process, and they had hired like some university in Germany to use an optical equipment to measure how sharp stuff is. It shows. That's really impressive edge. That's all I got. I wrapped up. No cuts, no nicks. Feeling great with the Ariana Evans Ultima Barberia Classico. Really impressed with the A&E soap. I can finally say I've used Peter's products. Love it. Love the Dovo. If you've used a straight razor, if you've battled Medusa, if you've used Ariana Evans, tell me below in the comments. And if you do leave a comment, you're entered to win this, the official Razor Emporium black and blue t-shirt. That's all I got. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and we will see you next time at Razor Emporium for all things vintage shaving. Thanks, guys.